When did online sales start?
Right at that time. So the nice thing about getting cans in hands at the gym is those people want to have it at home too. And so we started building out a direct to consumer business. I mean, our whole business was only direct to consumer, direct to gym for 5 years. We didn't have any retail accounts, which is hilarious because everybody we knew in the beverage industry said there's no way you can sell drinks online. We heard that piece of advice 10 times from very well-known people. You can't sell drinks online. People need to put liquid to lips. You can't sell drinks online. Nobody wants to buy 24. And we did it, we did it in a pretty big way. So, I mean, it's a lesson in that, coming with fresh eyes to an industry and killing the sacred cows and doing the opposite of what everyone's doing. It's usually your best shot, especially when you're in an industry with really big established players like we have in beverage.
Yeah, no kidding. You're not competing against little mom and pop shops. You've got Red Bull and you've got every other energy drink. Now do you consider yourself to be an energy drink? Are those your competitors, or do you categorize yourself differently?
A little differently. We're in what's considered healthy energy or performance energy are the two kind of categories where we really overlap those two. Whereas a traditional energy drink, you're just getting jacked up on sugar or artificial sweeteners, caffeine, taurine, right? Yeah. That's like the base formula for every energy drink out there. So nobody's drinking energy drinks for health reasons. What we've done was, say, our Focus Aid drink behind me, we've given you a moderate hit of natural caffeine with green tea, but then we load it with nootropics, alpha GPC, GABA. We put a full B complex in there. So we're really looking like, how can we stimulate the brain and nervous system versus just, jack your adrenals up with hammering you with caffeine. So it's a much cleaner approach. It's more sustainable. You won't get the ups and downs, but we basically reverse engineered each one of these drinks. I mean, immunity aid, if you're looking to boost your immune system, what are you going to take? Echinacea, vitamin C, vitamin D3, astragalus, zinc, all in efficacious doses. So another thing we did different, every quote unquote healthy drink before us was all about sprinkling pixie dust and kind of really relying on marketing, like vitamin water, right? There's no vitamins in vitamin water. It's more sugar than anything. But we were like, okay, let's actually create an efficacious drink. Yes, our costs are going to be higher and everything, but it's different than what anyone else is doing. One that we can give to a nutritionist or a doctor, and they're going to give it, the stamp of approval. And that was another big driver, because the CrossFitters early on, they were so conscious of everything they put in their body and label reading and looking a certain way that product really resonated. FIT Aid really resonated with that community.
So let's go down the rabbit hole of product creation just for a minute or two or three. So neither one of you guys are chemists. You're chiropractors, and was your co-founder a chiropractor as well?
Certified financial planner.
Oh, sorry, that's right, financial planner. So neither one of you knows jack diddly squat, I'm assuming, about formulating a drink.
No. So
how do you get that? Like, first of all, let's talk about the mindset. Hey, we're going to create a product that we know absolutely nothing about how to create. What gave you the confidence to think that you could actually make something that people would want?
Well, I mean, it wasn't my first entrepreneurial go around. I had several companies before that, most of which didn't do much, one of which did okay. And so I had been building confidence, because each one of those was like a massive learning block. Like, you needed to figure out supply chain. You needed to figure out accurate thinking. You needed to figure out marketing. And, it's just each one gave me more and more confidence. I had some background, obviously, in nutrition, being in the profession that I was in. I had seen firsthand, the highest level athletes I was treating in all major sports were coming in to see me. And these guys are Ferraris. They're the equivalent of a human Ferrari. And yet they were drinking plenty of water, but also drinking the energy drinks primarily.
But they taste good.
And the sports drinks. Well, they were looking for the effect. They wanted to pick me up. They liked the flavor profile or the perception on the sports drinks. Like, well, this is just what we do, right?
Yeah.
And I was started educating them on like, look at these ingredients here. You don't want that. Like, are you going to go put, 81 gas in a Ferrari? That's what you're doing, and it really resonated with them. And they said, well, what else, water's boring. What else should I drink? And, I would give them like home concoctions to make, like, well, here, mix this with this. And, if you want a Gatorade replacement, let's get some Himalayan sea salt and, let's get, a little dab of honey and we'll mix it in some mineral water. And, there you go. We'll do that instead. We were doing stuff like that. So, there was that confidence there that I knew there was something missing in the marketplace. And then when, we had the concept of LIFEAID as a master brand and, being function forward versus flavor forward, any beverage company, not now, but back then, they were all 10, 15, 20 flavor variations of the same base formula. Mm-hmm. We took it totally different where we're going to have a unique flavor for each function and be function forward. So each one's totally different. It's not the same thing, just, rebranded for a different audience. And so that aha. And then when we went online and started, searching for domains and find, FitAid and FocusAid and LifeAid.com available for $12. We even got Boneraid.com for $12. So whoever thought all the good domains were already taken was mistaken. And we registered 80 domain names over one night. It was on his birthday in January 2011. We registered 80 domain names and we were like, all right, it's meant to be. The stars are aligning. We're off to the races.
All right. So to make the product, did you just go find a contract manufacturer who have chemists and such on staff, or did you have to go find a formulator and then did you have to go find a manufacturer?
I did the initial formulation myself. And it wasn't that hard. I mean, it's not like it's not rocket science in as much as anyone has access to Medline or PubMed, right? Which is the government index of every published article by any reputable, PhD written publication. So that's all there. And then I can go to anybody in a niche audience we're looking to serve and say, or my patients, what do you take for immunity and why? Or go to athletes, what are you taking for recovery and why? Right? We already knew these audience already had a really good idea. You go to the burner community, like, what are you taking when you're out on the playa for, 4 or 5 days straight? Like, oh, well, we take 5-HTP, we take B vitamins, we take electrolytes. Okay. You're basically writing down what everybody's concoction is, what they're doing already. And then you go on Medline and reverse engineer what the efficacious dose and the best form, factor form that is that for those various ingredients. And then I write it down in an Excel spreadsheet and hand it to the food scientist and say, this is what's got to be in it. And she said, you're smoking crack. There's no way you can make a drink with all this in it and make it taste good and not use artificial. And we also had all the parameters: no sucralose, no aspartame, so no artificial sweeteners, no sodium, and low to no sugar. What were the parameters? And she said that you can't do it. And I took my sheet out of her hand, turned around and said, okay, well, we'll go somewhere else. They said, well, wait. We already booked the time. Like, we walked into the lab and we kept working it. And I'll tell you what, we got Golfraid tasting pretty good, but FitAid was horrible. I mean, it took us a while to get that one right. Fortunately, now it tastes great. But at first, oh God, I literally wouldn't even drink our own product. But the CrossFit community loved it because it was like for us, by us. It was made by CrossFitters for CrossFitters. It was the CrossFit drink, and it didn't taste that great, but it had all the right stuff in it. So fortunately, they were tolerant to the early adopters were tolerant to a bad tasting product. Now we after 6-12 months of hammering on it, we finally got it right. And then we're like, oh yes. Then I felt good about handing it to my friends and stuff.
Yeah. My wife is hardcore into CrossFit, and she does the ropes, and she'll come back with, even though she wears the socks, her shin is burned and scabbed up from doing the ropes, and it's like a freaking badge of honor. I'm like, it is. Just put on bigger socks. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. No, badge of honor.
Yeah.